Hello there, Hollows. Now then, the placement of bonfires is one of the most important things in the entire Souls franchise and relevant Souls-like franchises. They are what dictate the pace in which you need to go through an area, the length of time you need to survive using certain resources, and the way in which you can navigate back to areas through the use of fast travel mechanics. Bonfires are essential to the game, and everything else around you in the world almost feels linked to this mechanic because how you traverse the environment is often dependent on where these safe areas are. Now that we've established what a bonfire is and what its core purpose is, let's discuss what is, in my opinion, a perfect bonfire. A perfect bonfire is one that you rely on for multiple things, and one that serves as your respawn point for multiple locations. The first perfect bonfire in the Souls franchise, in my opinion, resides in the Undead Burg of the original Dark Souls, and it's the first bonfire that you reach in this area. When you first see it, it just seems like a regular checkpoint. You light the bonfire, and now it acts as your respawn point when you die. However, it isn't until later that you realise it's going to be used for several important sections of the game. This same bonfire is used as your next bonfire after you defeated the Taurus demon. You kick down the ladder, and now you have a shortcut back to this bonfire, and now this same respawn point is used as you progress through the start of the Undead Parish, until you get to what is, in my opinion, the second perfect bonfire, the Undead Parish bonfire next to Andro. However, we aren't finished talking about this one. That bonfire is also used once you get the lower Undead Burg key, which allows you access to the Capra demon fight. You unlock a door which only opens from one side, and then this same bonfire is used again. The same one that you originally used to fight the Taurus demon is now being used for the Capra demon fight. This bonfire is placed in an absolutely masterful way, and is perfectly positioned for all three of these sections of the game, and is one of the best examples of good level design in all of gaming. Now let's talk about a terrible bonfire, and in my opinion, one of the worst bonfire placements is in the first major area of Elden Ring. In this game, bonfires are called Sites of Grace, and there's one of them positioned just before the Margit the Fell Omen boss fight, and this is probably placed well. However, Elden Ring introduced the concept of Stakes of Marika, which are respawn points that you can use without a bonfire. These are usually positioned before boss fights or before pretty difficult enemy encounters, and allow you to respawn at these points. However, you don't get the other benefits of a Site of Grace, like being able to level up, attune your magic, amongst other things. Now, regardless of my feelings on Stakes of Marika as a whole, Elden Ring introduced this feature, and yet it doesn't always use it. Margit the Fell Omen, in my opinion, should have had a Stake of Marika as opposed to a Site of Grace, but okay. Let's say the game wants you to die to Margit and return to a Site of Grace so that then Melina can give you an invitation to the Round Table Hold. I understand that. But there's no reason why the game can't force you back to the Site of Grace the first time you die to Margit, and then use the Stake of Marika placed outside of Margit's boss arena on subsequent deaths. However, even if we put a Stake of Marika outside Margit's arena, it still wouldn't solve the issues that are presented here, because in Elden Ring, here there are 3 Sites of Grace in quick succession. Now, when we compare this to the perfect bonfire placement we discussed just seconds ago in the original Dark Souls, this is baffling. In that game, we saw one bonfire being used for 2 bosses and another massive section of the game, and yet now we see 3 Sites of Grace within about a minute's walking distance. This is caused by the fact that major bosses in Elden Ring always leave behind a Site of Grace when they die, a mechanic that I don't understand. It started with the 4 major enemies in Dark Souls 2 leaving behind primal bonfires when they're defeated, and then this mechanic progressed further in Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 by having all bosses leave behind a bonfire or a lantern when they die. However, let's say we removed Margit's Site of Grace that it leaves behind after death. We still would then have 2 Sites of Grace that are in insanely close proximity to each other, which is just bizarre. For a game which spends so much time deliberately creating shortcuts and connecting levels and areas together in amazing ways, it shocks me that it would consciously keep something like this in the game. It baffles me even more that it hasn't been resolved in subsequent patches. All they would need to do, in my personal opinion, is remove the Site of Grace that Margit leaves behind when he dies, and also remove the Site of Grace which is outside Stormveil Castle and replace that with a Stake of Marika. If FromSoftware want to maintain their idea of having bosses leave behind Sites of Grace when they die though, then do instead what I suggested before, and remove the Site of Grace outside Margit's arena, replace that with a Stake of Marika, and then also replace the third bonfire here with a Stake of Marika, the one that's just outside Stormveil Castle. In my opinion, there is no reason for a blunder like this to exist in a game that is crafted as well as Elden Ring, especially when there are so many potential solutions to this problem that are really easily available. Anyway, I want to hear what you think. Can you think of any reasons why FromSoftware would want to keep these 3 Sites of Grace so close together in Elden Ring? Because you'd think that considering the game has been out for over a year now, if they were going to address something like this, they would have done it by now. Also, let me know down below if there's any other moments like this in Elden Ring that you also would like to highlight. Let me know those down below. Anyway, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe if you liked it, and maybe even become a member if you really liked it. Thank you again for watching. This is SoulReborn signing out. Have a good one.